Okay, welcome to the On Your Side podcast. I'm Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell.
Man, can we talk about the weather here real quick?
Sure.
Is it ever going to stop?
I think very soon. We're in for a little bit more time, but I think we're going to cool off and it'll be great.
I think a couple of days ago, we had another record for 117 degrees. We're coming up on September. Do I need to remind you?
I know.
Oh, my goodness.
The other day, I know we've hit 119 a couple times this summer, but that 117 degree day, it actually felt hotter. Like when I was getting the kids buckled into their car seats, my feet were burning.
Yes.
It's just feeling like, oh gosh,
well,
I'm done.
And we always have this joke here with the Arizonans that it's a dry heat, right?
It doesn't matter.
But lately it's been like the dew point has been like 60 or above, which makes it just feel like heavy.
Yeah, no, I know.
And a lot of humidity.
My kiddo had a conversation with me. He sat me down, and this was very important to him. He's 4, remember? And he looked at me. He goes, "Mom, you moved me to the wrong state. I want to move to New York and live with Grandma and Grandpa." And I was like, "Well, wouldn't you miss me?" And he's like, "It's too hot. You can come with us."
He's 4. He's already a genius.
Yeah.
He already knows.
I know.
It did not take him long to figure it out. Hey, listen, today we're talking about artificial intelligence. And before we jump into it, the first thing that comes to my mind is the internet. I mean, do you remember when you first started to kind of dabble with the internet and kind of introducing yourself and kind of figuring out, what is this?
Yeah, you know what? I can remember way back in the day, my parents signed up for Prodigy. Do you remember that product? Prodigy.net,
I don't know if I can. Oh, yes, I do. Yes.
So we had that in our house for a little while when I was a kid, and we didn't use it because it didn't really go many places and it didn't do a whole lot. So we canceled the subscription, and our family was like, I guess websites aren't a thing.
Yeah. But
now
they
we see
are
what's happened.
very, yeah. I remember trying to figure out like Google and typing things in like, okay, this can come up with anything. My supervisor was like, okay, so here's the deal. The websites, like if they're a government website, they end in GOV. And I'm like, oh, okay, interesting, good to know.
Yeah.
And if it's a university, it's EDU. If it's a company, it's COM. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to catch on here
And
now.
my, oh my, what an evolution.
Yeah, I mean, that was in the, let me see, when was it? That was probably...
You guys are so old.
Oh, come on, Todd. That's not fair.
Todd, do you remember the internet when it first came on?
Oh, I remember when I first got on it, there was no Google or anything, so you had to buy like a book that had websites and addresses in it because there was no search engines or anything
Didn't
like
know
that.
where to go.
That's how, it was like, I don't know, early to mid 90s
Okay,
probably.
who's old now?
Oh, I'm definitely old, yeah.
Well, we've come a long way. So listen, we've conquered the internet. We're all pros.
Total pros.
At the internet. We know exactly what to do, where to find things. Encyclopedias are a thing of the past. For our younger generation, they probably don't even know what the word encyclopedia means. But now we're moving into the age of artificial intelligence. And this is a whole new era, which kind of reminds me of, that's why I brought up the internet. It kind of reminds me of the wave of technology when it came in. And now we have this other wave of technology called artificial intelligence, also referred to as AI. So we're going to be talking about that. We're talking to Juanita Sorrano. She is an expert from edX, and we're going to talk a little bit about edX. And how are you today, Juanita?
I'm great. Much cooler than you.
Yeah, you're in New York, right?
I am, yeah.
That's where my kid wants to move, so maybe he'll come by and say hello.
Anytime. Doors wide open.
Are you volunteering to be a nanny, maybe, part-time?
I'm always trying to find out what my next hustle will be, so you never know.
It's always good to have a little side gig.
I think her job is a little bit maybe too all-intensive to also hang out with my 4-year-old.
Juanita is very, very smart because she's with edX. And tell us about edX. A lot of people may not have heard of it. What is edX and what do you offer?
So edX is a platform, a website, Gary, that you can go to that has over 4,000 courses that you can explore. So we're really focused on lifelong learning, anywhere from free to degree. So you're interested in AI, you can check out an individual course, audit it for free, or you can get your master's at UT Austin for $10,000.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about edX and what it has to offer. But let me jump into artificial intelligence. How important is it for people to start dabbling in it so they understand what AI is? Or maybe if they have to use it somewhere down the road in a job. I mean, is this the world we're coming into right now? AI is going to be the thing.
Yeah. And I think when we talk about AI, really thinking about it as autocomplete in your Google search bar, being able to spell check your words when you type it in. All of those tools are very usable and help us, exponentially throughout the day. So being able to dabble in AI, even just Chat GPT, to have a basic understanding will help you in all aspects of your life, especially your career.
Are you finding that people are starting to really kind of gravitate toward those courses to feel like they are able to stay competitive with the rest of the workforce?
Oh, definitely. And you can see that across the job market, how quickly jobs are changing and adapting to meet the need of both the market, but also the advances in technology. So we have open courses that are focused on ChatGPT, but over 450 of our courses have some element of AI in it. So it's pervasive.
For the younger generation, maybe some of the kids like in their maybe early 20s, even if they have a college degree, what courses should they take to kind of immerse themselves into AI? And I know a lot of people are like, I don't need AI. I'm never going to really use it, but that's not necessarily the case, is it?
No, I really don't believe it is the case. I think that the more that you can add to your skills tool belt, the better off you are, regardless of what kind of career you're in or what your education background might be. So if you're coming out of college, or even just a young adult trying to make their way through the workforce, understanding ChatGPT is probably my first step that I would recommend. It is free, accessible on mobile, accessible online, and your ability to easily communicate with a chat version of AI helps explain, kind of, maybe not explain, but really be able to have a starting point on what AI could potentially do to help you.
Can you tell me what Chat GPT is? I know there's a lot of folks out there who don't really have a firm grip on it, and including me.
Have you ever used it?
No, I don't even know how to start using it. So I'm kind of exposing my ignorance on it. But there's a lot of people like me who have heard of it, but they don't know exactly how to engage with it. So can we just start with the basics then? What is it? And if I want to use it, what good is it to me?
Yeah, so ChatGPT was created by OpenAI, which is a company focused on machine learning and artificial intelligence. And what it is basically is a chat bot. So imagine when you're speaking with customer service on a website and it's just the little chat bubble. You open it up and you're like, I want to find out what happened to my payment. And it's like, pick 1, 2, 3. Is it one of these options? ChatGPT, the way that their language model is built is that it allows you to have a conversation in that kind of chat box. So if I said, where did my payment go? I don't see it reflected. ChatGPT could then answer by utilizing the database that they have on their side of the company. In the free ChatGPT that anyone can access, it has availability to public data up until a couple years ago. So it can't tell you what the weather was yesterday, but it can give you kind of an overall understanding of what is machine learning. What should I know about machine learning?
Is this an app?
It can be an app. So you can download it on your phone, or you can just go on a browser and look at it.
Susan, have you used it?
I've used it, and for a couple other reports that I've worked on, I kind of tested it out, and you can go down a giant rabbit hole. You get into it, and all of a sudden you're asking it all these questions.
Give me an example. What did you do with it?
So Oh gosh, I forget what you
but
know what I asked it actually. I just thought this was silly and fun. I asked it, who is the reporter Susan Campbell, and then I get information about myself. And it wasn't perfect. There was some stuff woven in because there is another Susan Campbell reporter out there on the East Coast. So some of her information was mixed in, but I knew, where it was coming from.
This sounds a lot like Google. So
It's a little bit like Google, but you start, it kind of anticipates a little bit of where you're going with the chat.
yeah.
And so it comes up with extra stuff. Or like, this was a good one that a lot of people have talked about. I want to go on a vacation. Give me 10 ideas of where I can spend less than $3,000 for my family of 4. And it'll come up with 10 options. It'll send you info about all of them, why it's so cool, why it's great, what maybe to be careful about. It goes in a lot of different directions.
Sure. I think college students are even kind of using it for their essays and papers.
Well, that's not allowed.
I mean, you're not supposed to do that, but they're getting.
Some people are getting busted. I mean, there's that famous, famous story that's happened also to an attorney who got caught because he filed a brief with the judge, and it turned out ChatGPT came up with some false information, and the judge
Oh boy.
called him out on it.
Yeah, not good.
There's limitations for
Right.
sure, but there are so many applications. I'm curious. There are so many people who might be concerned about job security with ChatGPT or any other AI. Is AI going to take my job? Am I going to be replaced by AI? Is it?
So I think with any new technology, that is always a conversation, right? How is this going to affect me and potentially my family and my well-being? And that is just another reason to lean into it and figure out what it is and how you can use it to your advantage instead of trying to fight against it. Because imagine in the 90s if you were fighting against the internet and putting an e-commerce shop up, and how much that in the long run that works against you. So really understanding what it can potentially do and then how you can work with it and around it.
Let's talk a little bit about edX and what you can offer people who are interested in it. So if somebody wants to learn more about it and they want to get all those letters after their name because it looks really good on their resume, because certificates in whatever, subject always looks good on a resume. What does edX do as far as certificates, and how can it help people gain a job?
Well, I think that continuously honing your skills, I know that I'm beating that drum pretty hard. It is so imperative for people to continue to upskill throughout their career journey, not just at the beginning. And edX offers free courses that you can take an audit, like that ChatGPT course that I mentioned. But we also have artificial intelligence boot camps that we've created, which is great for professionals with little to no technical training, and really gives you some of the required skills to be able to talk to that in the professional setting. And we have that at 4 leading universities, including Michigan State. Gary?
All right, Spartans. All right.
Yeah.
I also saw the Ohio State University.
Yes.
You have to get the. That's important.
Hey, let's talk about the boot camps a little bit. I like when things are kind of like portrayed as a boot camp, because it sounds like you're cramming a whole bunch of information into like a little bit of time. Tell me a little bit about how that works.
Yeah. So exactly your point. We have created boot camps in order to acquire skills in digital technologies. So this one specifically AI, to get it over 6 months. It's made for working professionals. So it's a part-time program you can do after your workday. And most of them are still virtual thanks to the pandemic. So you can attend, after you put your kids to sleep or depending on your time zone. And these are really project-based. You're able to build a portfolio so you can showcase your skills after the fact, and you're done in 6 months.
If you finish that in 6 months and you've earned, I guess, is it a certificate then? Is that, So
Yes.
what is the
It is a certificate from the Ohio State University if you decide to go there.
so that
I have to
does
squeeze in an OHIO right there.
Yeah.
It's very rare that
Yeah.
I get to be very proud of my home state Buckeyes. So
oh well
I'm just throwing it in there.
This is your chance.
OHIO.
So,
I'm here for you, Susan, really.
so that would look really good on a resume. So on the resume, you could say that you've got what certificate, and then from what school did was it Ohio?
The Ohio State University.
I'm just trying to make you
I
mad.
know. No, I get to say it more. That's great.
So how does that show up in black and white on a piece of paper?
So black and white, I mean, it's more than just a piece of paper now. You can get a Credly badge on your LinkedIn to show that you have that credential too. But it shows up as a certificate from the Ohio State in an artificial intelligence boot camp. And then if it's a digital badge, you can actually dive in and see what the technologies are behind that you learned. But even more than the certificate, it is that body of work that you go through, assignments and projects that you can then showcase. Yeah, here's my skill in practice.
When it comes to getting into AI and say like this boot camp, I know people are left brain, right brain. Do you have to be a certain type of person to actually kind of like flourish in artificial intelligence? For instance, I'm terrible at math. That's why I'm a journalist.
That's why you're right.
That's why I write for a living. What about AI? Can you tell me, is it a left brain, right brain thing?
I love busting this myth, really, because I was always I was like you, thinking that I'm not good at math. I really am not that technical. I actually completed one of our boot camps in full stack web development. And because of my ability to understand logic, I was able to manage that and be able to utilize those skills later on. So no, don't have to be left brain, right brain. Okay. I think if you have an interest in it, which is part of the reason why we offer free courses, is really you get to explore, is this something I want to invest my money and time in? And will it pay off for me? So you can kind of test it out. See, do I want to build a website? Do I want to be able to, program a language, artificial intelligence, language model for some company or for myself?
On the free courses, can you earn a certificate, or is it a courses just to kind of like get your feet wet?
So there is an ability to upgrade it so that you can get a certificate of completion from the course, but you can audit it as well.
Okay, and then again, that certificate will have the name of the college that you went through,
the
right?
name of the program that's offering it. Yeah.
Okay. How come it's not more colleges?
Oh, we have many. We have over 200 colleges and universities and companies that have created courses for us.
Do you have Texas Tech?
I have UT Austin.
Definitely. They're my arch enemy. Yes, not a big fan of UT, but
poor guy. I was talking about the colleges I like, so he had to throw in a little love for the Texas Tech Cup. Do you ever wash that thing?
No, it hasn't been washed in I don't think ever, but
so
I drank like 3 of these a day. But hey, listen, it was great talking to you, Juanita. Thanks for being on the On Your Side podcast. I think it's a fascinating topic. Artificial intelligence. I mean, you're going to have to embrace it.
I just love the idea of not getting left behind.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than feeling like you don't understand what's going on in the world around you and feeling like, the generation that's coming up is just going to steamroll you. That's not fun. Yeah. So I love the idea of just upskilling and constantly learning.
And you don't have to obtain the certificate, but like I said
just
earlier,
be immersed in it a little bit.
Just get your feet wet a little bit, and then if you're in love with it, just keep going, right?
Probably lots of good job opportunities after.
I would imagine that. Hey, Juanita Sorrano, tell us a little bit about if people want to learn more about edX or you. Are there any social media platforms or websites you want to throw out? So if people are interested, they can find out.
Yeah, definitely. It's very easy. edx.org, so edx.org. And we have a search bar at the top, just like Google. Anything that you're interested in, type it in, and there will most definitely be something there for you.
All right. Well, listen, good conversation. I feel somewhat a little smarter knowing what Chat GPT is now, and
go audit a course.
Maybe I'll have to.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that. All right, Juanita, thank you so much for being on the On Your Side podcast, and have a great week, and stay cool in New York, right?
I will. Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Have a good one. Bye.
The On Your Side podcast is produced by Brad Denny. Our audio engineer and editor is Todd Martin. Segment producer is Colin Stanton. And I'm Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell. If you have a problem you can't resolve, maybe we can. Send us a message through azfamily.com or our AZ Family mobile app. Look for the On Your Side section and leave us a message. Thanks so much for listening to the On Your Side podcast. And if you like it, leave us a review. We'll see you next week.
On Your Side is on Good Morning Arizona every weekday morning at 6:45 and 7 o'clock, and every weekday evening on Good Evening Arizona at 4 and 5 o'clock. You can also catch it on Arizona's Family News at 9 on 3TV every weeknight.